You're a vampire, Elena. Be a vampire.
Everything is heightened. Sight, smell, taste, touch.
Digging my own grave.
This is going to be my Vampire Diaries review and also a discussion about the characters of Stefan, Damon, and Elena and the connection between all three characters, the ultimate love triangle. Season 4, Episode 2 of Vampire Diaries, entitled Memorial. Now, let's just talk about the scenes. The scene with Stefan and Elena in the woods. I thought this scene was, I thought it was hot too. Like, like when she's there and Stefan's trying to teach her how to use her vamp speed, and he's like, just push off like a racer. And then she's like, I can't stop thinking about your hands, I'm about it. It was just, it was hot. And also, I'm just gonna say this, I completely agree with Damon. I mean, Stefan thinks that they should get her on the animal blood immediately so that she can get like a handle on her, on the whatever the hell. Like Stefan, oh god, like Stefan just has this imaginary, you know, hold on her, thinking that, you know, he can keep her as a vampire who's never ever killed anyone, which is, you know, seeing as how she's Elena, it might very well just happen, but I think it's bullshit. I think that being a vampire who's never ever killed anyone just makes you a pussy, but whatever, I digress. I totally agree with Damon. I think that they should start out Elena immediately on the human blood. Like Damon said, how can she know how to control the bloodlust if she's never experienced it? So I think that they, right off the bat, should have gotten her used to feeding on people. I know it sounds horrible, I know it sounds dark, but you know what? After everything Stefan did in Season 3, I don't understand how he's being so self-righteous, but whatever. So he's like, no, I want to save her, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, Damon was a complete dick last episode, but I completely agreed with him in this episode that they need to get her used to human blood now rather than later, so that right out of the gate she can know how to control it. I mean, like Stefan even says, name one vampire who didn't immediately start on human blood, who didn't kill someone. And then Damon says, name one vampire who started immediately out on animal blood and then didn't end up killing dozens of humans. I completely agreed with Damon. I think they should get her on the human blood now. I think she needs to control it now. I got the biggest bullshit in the world. Like, seriously, like my sister, she's not even a real fan of the show. Like, you know, I guess she went without watching it. She wouldn't give a crap, which should make what I'm about to tell you mean something even more. My sister, who's not a huge fan of this show, she just finds it entertaining. She came downstairs when she finished watching the episode. You finished watching the Vampire Diaries. I just finished watching the Vampire Diaries. She told me, and I was like, yeah. She goes, what was up with Elena having complete control of herself? I was just on the floor. I was just on the floor laughing, because that's exactly what I was thinking. What the fuck was up with that? Elena, the whole episode, she's coughing up blood. She's starving. She's sick. The very first, she's never fed on a human. She has this big bloodlust inside of her, and the very first time she feeds on a human, it's Matt in the middle of a church. And my sister told me exactly what I was thinking when I was watching the episode. Elena was going to make some huge scene. She was going to feed on Matt. There's going to be all kinds of chaos. But no. She bites Matt, she sucks enough of his blood to, like, be okay, and then she, like, wipes the blood off her lip, and she's like, okay, guys. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm full now. We have to go save April. Are you fucking serious right now? Oh, my God. Really? Like, I was really hoping that they were really going to touch on Elena going rabid, but she didn't. I thought Elena was going to really go rabid, but no, she didn't. She has complete and utter control of herself. Like, seriously, I mean, like, when Stefan and Damon are just, you know, off doing whatever the fuck they were doing, like, after Damon gives Elena some of his blood, which was a really hot scene, but, I'm sorry, the screen's, like, reflecting off my glasses, it's making it look weird. Like, after that, she's in the church preparing for the memorial, and she's by herself. Really? Really, Stefan and Damon? Really? She's a newly turned vampire, she's hungry. I mean, seriously, like, even Caroline, when she first turned, she drank that nurse, and then later that night, she was so hungry, she killed some carnival worker. You're really gonna trust Elena, who's only been a vampire for a few days? You're gonna trust her to be alone in a church full of humans? Really? Really? Like, because she has complete and utter self-control. And everyone's like, oh, well, it's her enhanced compassion. Fuck that. Fuck that. Because Stefan, when he was human, he was compassionate, he was kind, he was caring. And when he became a vampire, he went rabid, started killing people. So why does it apply for Stefan but not for Elena? And it's like, oh, well, you know, Stefan went through a huge tragedy. Elena didn't. Elena hasn't. Look at everything that's happened to Elena in the last 3 seasons. You know, last episode when she turned, Alaric died because Elena is just the protagonist. So everything just has to be bent for her. I don't understand why. I don't understand why she doesn't change to fit the world. The world has to change to fit her. That just really, really annoys me. You know what I mean? It's like the rule that they've set of newborn vampires being out of control is just changing. It's just changing so that, you know, if you were a compassionate enough person in life, you can have complete control over your bloodlust. Really? Really? That was so annoying. That was the biggest problem with this episode. Because this episode itself, my biggest problem with the first episode, obviously, was that it was so rushed, that they trashed so many storylines, and as I predicted, you know, the mayor and the sheriff, the mayor and Liz are just, you know, they're right back in their positions. She's the mayor, Liz is the sheriff, and there's no one to question them, no one to overturn them. And I'm just going to say this, does Liz even have any deputies anymore? I mean, shouldn't they all be dead? I liked this episode, actually. I enjoyed it. I thought that it took its time. I was really able to absorb it and soak it in. And, you know, even though Elena just had to make it so dramatic with her vomiting up every single drop of blood she intakes, all in all, I did like, you know, the scenes where the scene where Damon runs to the church to bring her bagged blood and a change of clothes. I thought that was, I liked that, you know, stuff like that. All in all, the episode, I would not only say it was tolerable, I would say it was enjoyable, because some crazy shit went down, like when April Young shows up, and that new hunter in town, Connor Jordan. We got a new character this episode, his name's Connor Jordan. He's a vampire hunter, and a really efficient one at that. He shows up, and he just, Rachel Young, Pastor Young's daughter, she shows up, and she's going to be speaking at the memorial, and she's very nervous, she doesn't know what to say, like, you know, she even says, like, what am I supposed to say? Sorry to everyone who lost a loved one in the fire, in the explosion. My dad should have fixed the gas line. I mean, like, what is she supposed to say? So she's up on the balcony trying to write her speech, and then Connor Jordan comes out of nowhere and fucking stabs her, and lies her there, and lets her bleed out, so that, you know, when the vampires show up for the memorial, they'll catch the scent of blood and freak out. And he has a sniper rifle up there loaded with, like, a stake launcher to, like, take out any vampire that he sees freaking out. So he's willing to kill this young, innocent girl if it means flushing out the vampires. That's insane. And yeah, he would have killed her. There's no way he could have known the vampires would have helped her. He was willing to stab this teenage girl, lay her there, and let her bleed out, and just kill her. It's completely insane. I mean, like, he has no regard for human life. Oh, he's a vampire hunter, but he has no regard for human life. If he did, he wouldn't have done that to April. That was horrible. Now, when April was first introduced in this episode, I'm worried. I am very worried. Do you know why I'm worried? Because when she gets there, she meets fucking Matt and Jeremy, and just the way that situation was handled, am I the only one who feels like a love triangle is going to form from that? You know what I'm saying? Like, she gets there, and the way that Matt and Jeremy are eyeing her, I'm like, oh my god, another love triangle? Really? Oy. And, you know, especially how, like, Matt and Jeremy are, like, BFFs now. God, let's not forget Forwood this episode. I thought that scene was fucking awesome. Caroline and Tyler are in bed, and they're rolling around, and they're making out, and of course, like, this, at least the writers, like, oh god, like, everything the writers are doing wrong, it's like, at least they know what I want, because I want a fucking Forwood hookup every single episode, even if it's just a makeout scene like we had last episode, or if it's an almost sex scene like we got this episode. Oh my god, like, if every single episode just has like a 1 minute scene of that, just like a solid 1 minute of that, oh god, yes, that was so good. Oh god, and then Caroline's like, oh wait, no, we're being selfish, you know, we're having sex and all the people are dead, and Tyler's like, it's grief sex, it's healthy. And I don't understand why Caroline was like, we should be grieving for these dead people. Need I remind you, they're all the council. They wanted to kill you, your boyfriend, your friends. They wanted to kill them all. Like why was Caroline like, oh, people are dead and we're having sex? I was like, those are all people who wanted you dead. Like, I know it's horrible when the town's had a major loss because all those people had loved ones and family, but in the end, those are all people who wanted to kill you and all your friends. People who abducted you and were going to hold you in a cell and torture you. Of course, I was just thinking, oh my god, Caroline, I love you, girl, but stop talking, just have sex with Tyler. He got body snatched last episode, and he just got his body back last episode, you know what I'm saying? Like, give him a chance to enjoy it. He just got it back. That was so ridiculous. And then Caroline's like, we should be more sensitive. And Tyler says exactly what every guy fucking says when his girl is just shut down. He's just like, I love you. They start going at it again, and I was just like, yes. And of course, Connor Jordan, not only is he a vampire hunter, he's a professional cock blocker. He just comes over to Tyler's house. And what is up with the mayor? Like, he forces himself into her house, and she doesn't have a taser, she doesn't have a gun, and nothing. She's got nothing. No means of self-defense. No means of keeping someone out of her house. Like, if anything, she really needs to have, like every single time there's a knock on that door, she needs to go into the drawer by the front door and pull out a gun loaded with wooden bullets and just have it behind her back, open the door. Yeah, hello? He forces his way in. Boom, boom, boom. And you shoot him. Seriously, like, this guy is a trespasser in your fucking house. You're the mayor of this town, filled with vampires, werewolves, hybrids. You don't have any means of self-defense, especially when Tyler comes downstairs. And Connor Jordan, sneaky little bastard. He has gloves that are laced with vervain, and he shakes Tyler's hand, it burns Tyler, and shoots Tyler. Mrs. fucking Lockwood is just standing there screaming, ah, Tyler, ah! I'm thinking, what the fuck is wrong with you? What do you do something, woman? That's your son. Like seriously, like, what if he had pulled out a machete and, like, chopped off Tyler's head? What would his mother have been doing the whole time? Standing there screaming? Seriously, the whole time that was happening, I was like, do something, woman. Seriously, like, I know she doesn't have a weapon, but, like, there was shit all around her. Like, that's fine. Like, whenever I'm watching horror movies, or movies where some shit like this goes down, people really need to understand that everything around them is a potential weapon. That lamp on that table. Like, pull a drawer out of the desk and hit him with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything around you can be used as a potential weapon or distraction. But she just yells at the top of her lungs like a moron. And Tyler super speeds out the window because he's a hybrid, so wooden bullets don't really affect him. And then, you know, he runs out, and then we get a nice little scandalous Candace walking down that staircase, nothing but her, you know. It was so awesome! Tyler and Caroline go over to the Salvatore mansion, and Stefan is helping remove the bullets from Tyler, and they burn to the touch. Like, when Stefan touches them, they burn him. But he notices they're not laced with vervain, and, you know, they have this weird writing, so he thinks it might be magical. And, of course, whenever there's a magical problem, everyone goes to Bonnie, like, or Bonnie's character, whenever there's a problem or whenever they need some sort of magical solution. So Stefan thinks the bullets are magical, so he goes, of course, to Bonnie. And Bonnie's not answering the door, and everyone is like, oh, Bonnie was being so annoying this episode. Shut up! She just lost her grandmother again! Seriously, shut up. So Bonnie goes to her door and she starts crying, and Stefan, you know, Stefan is Stefan, you know, he's all nice. He's like, oh, Bonnie, it's okay, it's alright. I like Stefan and Bonnie's relationship. He goes in there, and Bonnie, you know, she doesn't recognize the writing on the bullets. She says it's not magical. And also, Bonnie's really freaked out. Like, she tried to do, like, a spell. She does a simple nature spell. I don't know what that means. Like, I guess, like, just manipulating plants or something. Bonnie tried to use magic, and, you know, it brought everything back to the surface. You know, when she used dark magic, when she saw her grams, like, get black-veined and, all that other crap. It just brings it all back, all that pain, all that emotion. So, yeah, the spirits really freaked her out with that shit. Good job, spirits. Bonnie basically tells them that whatever these bullets are, they are not magical, and that there's something else up with them. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding this new hunter, because he really knows what he's doing, because Stefan even tells him that the length and width of these wooden bullets, if Tyler was a regular vampire, those bullets probably would have killed him. So Stefan, Damon, Elena, Caroline, look out. The actual memorial, oh my god, like, again, just like the scene where Elena is there and she's sick and starving, and then Matt's like, Elena, feed for me. I was like, she's gonna go insane. She's a newborn vampire, she's sick, and she's starving, and then she bites Matt's neck. And I gotta call bullshit, because when she pulls away from him, is there any blood on her teeth? No, her teeth were sparkling white when she bit him, and then when she pulled away, they're still sparkling white. Bullshit, there'd be blood all up in her teeth, all up in her mouth, but they're not. There's just a little trickle of blood going down her lip. Really? There'd be, like, it's so ridiculous. Like, when she bites him, and then she pulls away, and she's like, and there's, like, some blood on her lip, and her teeth are all nice and white. I was like, are you serious? Her teeth would be covered in blood. She bit him, didn't she? Her teeth would be covered in blood. God, that scene where Stefan goes into the church, and Caroline and Tyler are there, and he's like, hey, Tyler, there's a hunter after you. It's kind of foolish for you to be here. I'm not letting a hunter stop me from being where I need to be. I was like, yes! That's my T-dog right there. And then Caroline's like, also, if he shows his face, I'm gonna kick his ass. I was like, oh, yes! Does anyone really need to ask why I love Forwood? Oh, shut up. It was so awesome. That was so great. And then Tyler going up there and basically being kind of like he basically makes himself sort of like a target to kind of, you know, because he knows that wherever this guy is, he's going to do something. So he goes up there and he's just like, hey, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Pastor Young was an awesome dude. Kind of like drawing out the hunter. And he does. And it's like, wow, Tyler really, you know, he really stepped his game. Tyler's really stepped his game up. You know, I really like Tyler. I really hope the writers don't shaft him again for a 4th season. Whatever. But that was awesome. And then, like, he pulls his stake out. It was so cool. And the scene where Damon fights this guy, like Damon almost got staked. I mean, like, what would have happened if Stefan hadn't come there? Because, you know, the size and width of his wooden bullets, they really fucked up Damon. Like, boom, boom, boom. Damon's like, ah, and like he tries to fight him, but then he gets the better of Damon. This guy really knows what he's doing. I mean, like, for him to be able to subdue Damon like that and then nearly stake him, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm really curious about this guy, but he's sadistic. I mean, like, that's why he's just such an interesting character, because like he's willing to do anything it takes to get the vampires, even if it means killing innocent humans. He's insane. But he's really interesting, especially later when Jeremy and Matt are in the bar and they see he has and Jeremy sees he has a tattoo on his arm, and he's like, "Oh hey, nice ink," and they walk away, and then Matt's like, "He doesn't have a tattoo," and it shows back, and his arm is clear. There ain't nothing there. So apparently it's some sort of spirit ink or spirit tattoo or something, and apparently if you're psychic, you can see it. The paper lantern scene and oh my god, Damon's cemetery scene. These were really. Oh, these got me. When, you know, Stefan is kind of mad at Elena for not saying anything, and Elena says, you know, "Oh, I have so much grief inside me, I feel like it's going to explode." And then Stefan does, like, something that's really cool. He calls the entire Vampire Diaries crew, except for Tyler. Why wasn't Tyler there? And they're all gathered together at the outside of the school, and Stefan wants to light lanterns, because there was supposed to be a lantern lighting ceremony after the memorial, but I'm guessing it got squashed due to the fact that there was an assassination attempt on the mayor's son. Stefan says that because everyone has experienced such great loss and because they've never taken the time to actually mourn anyone's death, they should probably just mourn everyone now by lighting paper lanterns. So the one that annoyed me was Elena's. She gets up and she just rehashes what everyone else says, and then she says, "And for me, I guess." And I was like, really, Elena? Be original. Or the writers could have spaced that out a little bit. Like, have Jeremy say something about their parents. Have Jeremy just say Anna, Vicky, and all that, and then have Elena say "for my parents." I mean, that would have been better. But no, she just gets up, she just rehashes what Jeremy and what Matt said, and then she says, "Oh, for everyone you all have lost." I was like, okay, way to grandstand. And Elena's like, "And for me, I guess." I was like, wow, gotta make it about yourself now, don't you? So then when all their lanterns go up, I was like, wow, look at those lanterns. And listen to that fray! Ungodly Hour? Jesus, how old is this song? And the cemetery scene with Damon. A lot of people said that they were crying when the scene went down. I completely understand why. It was so emotional. Damon's there, and he's talking to Alaric's grave, calling them children, and I love that. I love when he's like, "In the end, all you have is a hole where that person used to be." I was like, he misses Alaric. Like, even the whole episode, when everyone's about to sit to his left, and he tells them that seat's taken, it's because Alaric used to sit on Damon's left. I mean, like, he misses Alaric. Alaric and him were bros, you know? It's really... They're BFFs. It's really sad now that Damon doesn't have someone he can chill with anymore. It sucks. So Damon's there at the cemetery, and he's crying, and he talks about how Alaric owes him because now he's stuck there babysitting the kids. Although when I watched that, it was a really sad scene. But when Damon said that, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, babysitting the kids? You don't care about anybody but Elena. And if you want proof of that, last episode when he tried to kill Matt, when he nearly killed Matt, babysitting the kids, please. I was like, really, Damon? Who are you babysitting? Whatever. It was a nice episode. I was able to digest it. I was able to take I like that they took their time with this episode. Okay. It was definitely better than last week's. Hopefully it starts to pick up from here on out, or the episode quality remains the same, if not a little better. And I have to say that it needs to start getting better, because the whole Elena feeding on Matt and having complete self-control, it just drove me mad. I was just, like, it's a good thing it went to commercial, like, right after that, because I was so like agitated that, like, if it kept going, I would not have paid attention to anything that happened after that. But it went on commercial, and I was just able to just, you know, lose it in a healthy way until the show came back, and then I was able to absorb the rest of the episode. And also, I'm just going to say Caroline, my super vampire goddess, because saving April like that and then teaching Elena how to compel. Do I need to explain why I love Forwood? I really don't think I should have to, because it's just... It's right there. It's right there for you all to see. Anyway, so let's talk about the characters of Elena, Stefan, and Damon. Let's talk about Elena first. Elena. Now, first of all, I think that Nina Dobrev does a fantastic job of playing Elena. I think she's a very talented actress. I think she can do it all. I think that she is beautiful. I think that she is extremely talented. I love how she can play multiple characters and you believe every single character that she plays. For example, in Season 2, they joked in the special features about how she was playing 4 different characters. She was playing 1864 Catherine, she was playing human Catherine, she was playing present-day Catherine, and she was playing Elena. That's 4 different shades of characters. I mean, it was nuts, and I really think that Nina does a fantastic job of juggling all these characters. I mean, they even said that, like, that scene where Elena is talking to Catherine in the tomb, they had to shoot her the entire time talking to a double, and then again talking to a double as Catherine. I mean, like, she's really talented. I believe every word coming out of her mouth. Elena's character herself. Now, Elena's character, I really, really enjoyed Elena's character in Season 1 and Season 2 of the Vampire Diaries, because I thought she was a nice, strong, solid character. I mean, right off the bat in the pilot, I knew that she wasn't just going to be the typical Mary Sue chick. You know, like the scene where Jeremy comes into school and he's kind of fucked up, and she corners him in the boys' bathroom, and she says, you know, fine, Jeremy, go ahead, do all the drugs you want, but no, I'm going to be there to ruin your buzz every single time. I was like, wow, I can get behind this girl, you know. I could just really understand Elena. I can understand her points of view. There's only one instance in Season 1, and 2 instances in Season 2 where I completely disagreed with Elena. Season 1 scenario was when she had Damon brainwash Jeremy. Now, everything he was struggling with seeing how his parents' death affected him, I think that the revelation that vampires exist and that his girlfriend was dead and all that, I think that if that hit him all without the way he was sort of eased into it, or without that mind control, he would have killed himself. I seriously think that Jeremy would have just offed himself. So I totally agree why she wanted to brainwash him, and I think that Jeremy kind of needed to be brainwashed. I still think it was messed up, and I completely understand why Jeremy hated Elena for doing that. But I will never understand why Elena trusted Damon, of all people, to do that. At that point in the show, she knew nothing about him. I think that was like episode 5, I think that went down, like 5 or 6. She barely knew him. The only thing that she knew adamantly about him was that he'd been killing people since he stepped foot in town. He fed on, mind-controlled, and raped Caroline. He threatens her earlier. I mean, this is the guy you're going to trust to brainwash your brother? Really? Really, Elena? Like, no, I didn't agree with that at all. Like, when Damon was there and he was like, oh, I can brainwash him, I was like, Elena, tell his bitch ass to get off your porch. And Elena's like, okay. I was like, whoa, really? You out of your mind? You're out of your mind? Whatever, I would have told him to fuck off. Seriously. Threatening me, killing people, raping my best friend. No! This is not the person you trust. 2 instances I disagree with her in Season 2 is... The first instance is that after Damon breaks Jeremy's neck and kills him, but Jeremy is wearing a magical ring that Damon didn't know he was wearing, and Jeremy got brought back to life, Elena is pissed at him for like 3 episodes after that, and then after that, everything's fine. Everything's back to normal, kind of. I mean, she's got a good rapport with him again, and everything's just sort of back to normal. I mean, she was pissy at him for like 3 episodes after he snapped her brother's neck, but then for the rest of the season, they're just okay. Everything's just copacetic. And really? I was just... Really? I mean, if someone tried to kill one of my loved ones, I wouldn't forgive them at all. And, like, the thing is, Damon didn't do anything that was so spectacular and so amazing to prove that he was sorry for that. I mean, he didn't even come out and say he was sorry for doing it. He just lied. He just kept lying about how he knew that Jeremy was wearing the ring. And then even later when he admits that he didn't know Jeremy was wearing the ring, it doesn't mean anything because he doesn't apologize, doesn't atone for it. Elena forgives him later. And my second biggest instance that I don't agree with her with is the finale of Season 2 when she thinks Damon's dying and she gives him a kiss. Now, I know that every single Delena fan was going nuts. I thought it was nuts. But the thing is, Season 2, he snapped her brother's neck, and then he tried to force her into becoming a vampire. I mean, how fucked up is that? I understand her saying that she forgives him and everything, but her kissing him, I don't agree with that. It meant something, you know, because it was a Delena kiss, and it was the first one, and it was, you know, on his deathbed or whatever. While it meant something, to me, it just made her character seem kind of backwards. I mean, after all the fucked up shit he's done, she's willing to just forgive him, and that's understandable because he's on his deathbed, and she's not the kind of person to have someone die thinking that she hates them. But she kisses him too? Really, Elena? Favorite Elena episode of all time has got to be The Last Day. Like when Elena just has her final day as a human with Stefan, even though, you know, unbeknownst to us, she's going to stay human for another season. She talks to Stefan about how she loves him, but she doesn't even really know what that means. I love that. I love how she's so in touch with her humanity. She knows that she's just a teenager. She knows that she doesn't know what love truly is. She's a teenager. She even tells him, like, I was supposed to make all these decisions myself. She was supposed to decide whether she wanted to stay with Stefan forever and become a vampire. She was supposed to decide whether she wanted to have a family. Now, when I first watched this episode, I started thinking, well, then why are you even with Stefan? I mean, if you don't want to be a vampire and you want to have a normal life and kids, why are you even with Stefan? But then I came to realize that Elena is 17. So was Stefan. She still has, if anything, a good couple of years with him before she has to make any decision like that. She can still be human and in love with Stefan and be with him. It's totally fine. But at some point, she's going to have to make a choice. But she doesn't have to worry about that right now. She can just enjoy the time she has with Stefan. And that's what I loved about it. And I loved how Stefan said he was trying to pressure her. It was a great episode. It was a great Elena episode. It really showed Elena's inner strength, and I love that episode for that. It was my favorite Elena episode, and it was just an awesome ep. Character in Season 3, I already said what I thought about it. I thought her character was ridiculous. I thought she was the biggest, dumbest hypocrite in the world. How she has Damon brainwash Jeremy to leave town for his own safety, but she has the nerve to say, this is my town, and this is my home, I'm staying here because it's my home. Really? And it's not Jeremy's home? You're not giving Jeremy a chance to do that at all? How fucked up was that? Especially since all she does is bitch about free will. About how everyone's making choices for her and how she wants to make her own decisions. We're going to take away Jeremy's decisions? That was so fucked up. Especially, I was laughing the episode where Caroline said she wants to mind control her father into feeding so that he would complete the transition and not die. And Elena says that it would be wrong for Caroline to take away that choice from him. I was laughing. I was like, really, Elena? Really? And it's just okay for you to take away Jeremy's choice? Are you serious right now? I was just laughing. I mean, choosing to leave the town you grew up in, choosing to leave behind your family and friends and start a whole new life somewhere else is a huge, life-altering decision. She makes that choice for him, and she forces it on him. So fucked up. I know everyone's like, oh, well, Jeremy wanted to leave town. No, because he would have left town. I know he's talking about leaving town, saying they need to get out of there, but in the end, it should have been his choice, not someone else's. Elena has Damon brainwash him all over again, and it's the most fucked up thing ever. I was yelling at my television screen when she did that. Especially after she swore in Season 1 she would never do it again. That really aggravated me. Like, I started to really, like, God, she was so inconsistent, so backwards. I mean, like, and oh my God, how again, like, how she was playing Buffy. How she was running, she was punching, she was, like, when she was fighting with Damon, I was like, what is the point of this? Like, these vampires can move so fast that they seem to just vanish and reappear. They can lift cars over their heads. I mean, like, what chance do you think you have against them? She doesn't have anything. I mean, seriously, like, we don't even see a real connect with that. We don't even really see Elena go up against a vampire or a hybrid and actually take them down. Nothing! And of course, the Damon teasing was just ridiculous. It reached epic proportions, the Damon teasing. It was so aggravating. All in all, I loved Elena in Season 1 and Season 2. I thought she was great. I thought she was a solid character. I thought she was kick-ass. There were some instances where I disagreed with some of her stuff, but you know what? That's fine. No characters without flaws. But then Season 3 comes around, and then I find myself really... Stefan's character. Now, Stefan, played by Paul Wesley. I think that Paul Wesley does a really great job. I think that, every single time... Like, again, my favorite Stefan episodes have got to be the Miss Mystic Falls episode, Blood Brothers, and Under Control. These are my three... Like, all these three episodes together... as a package, are just the best Stefan kind of saga episodes ever. I absolutely love these episodes because it just shows you, like, because before this, I was thinking of Stefan as a very generic, angsty teen vampire. The one who, like Angel meets frickin' Edward. I mean, seriously, he's like, oh, I don't want to be a monster, I want to live a normal teen life, and blah, blah. The episodes that I just talked about, the Miss Mystic Falls, Blood Brothers Under Control, these episodes come around, and it just shows you just like this crazy side to him about how it's not even so much that it's a dark side, it's an addiction. It's a pure addiction. I mean, like, when the whole episode, when he's just, like, getting wasted to just keep the lust under control, it's nuts. And it really shows you why even a drop of human blood is too much for him. He's an addict, pure and simple. He'll feed from his victims so much and go into such a frenzy that he rips them apart. I mean, that was so interesting. I really loved those episodes. I think Paul Wesley did a great job of portraying that. I completely believed every single time Stefan was in pain, every time he lost it. I think Paul Wesley did a great job. I can't imagine anyone playing the characters other than the actors who play them. Like, I can't imagine anyone with Paul Wesley being Stefan. So I think Paul Wesley does a great job. I thought he was, in season 1, the beginning, I thought he was pretty generic and pretty angsty, although I did enjoy his character to an extent. Like, he wasn't my least favorite character, but he wasn't my favorite character either. But he was very much in the middle. Like, there were episodes where I enjoyed him. Like, the episode, like, even before Elena knew he was a vampire, like, the episode where he goes over and he makes her, I think he made her, like, chicken parmesan or something. And, you know, he starts talking about, like, how he loves Seinfeld, how he's a huge Scorsese fan, he can watch Taxi Driver over and over again. I mean, like, I love that. I like that scene, you know, it was a cool Stefan, it was a cool Stelena scene, I liked it. You know, so all in all, Stefan was a really good character in season 1. I love seeing him go off the rails. In season 2, he was a solid character, you know, he always had Elena's best interest at heart, which is why, I'll get into this, I think Stelena is better than Delena. I'll get into that one and talk about it later, but yes. I thought he was a solid character. Season 3. God, what a disappointment. I mean, Stefan sacrifices his morals, his beliefs. He sacrifices his humanity, his soul, in a sense. He gives it up to go on this killing spree with Klaus. And through all of this, he still doesn't turn off his switch. I mean, I thought that was insane, how he's just making Klaus and everyone believe that he's turned off his humanity, but through it all, he's still feeling. I mean, that scene where he leaves the bar and he calls Elena, and he can't even speak, because, like, he doesn't even know what to say. But then Elena tells him, you know, like, I love you, Stefan, hang on to that. Like, I really bought that. You know, it's like, through all of that, through the months of killing with Klaus, he never turned off his switch. That's insane. He's forcing himself to feel every single time he kills, every single person he kills, all that pain. He's forcing himself to feel it because he doesn't want to turn his switch off. He's become the killer he was in the past by forcing himself to feel it. I mean, that was insane. Then, you know, Klaus forces him to shut off his switch. Now, I was excited when that happened. I felt bad for Stefan like a mofo, but when that happened, I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get to finally see the insane, sadistic Ripper Stefan that we've been hearing about for the last 2 seasons. And what do we get? We get this... I don't know, he was annoying. I mean, there was nothing really interesting about him. He didn't even really seem dark to me. He just came off as sort of like an asshole, crazy person. I mean, honestly, it's like, what were the different, like, really, like, think about this. What were the differences between Cole and Ripper Stefan? Like, whenever you see Cole on screen, the original Cole, like, whenever you see him on screen, the way he's acting, like, how is that any different from Ripper Stefan? It honestly comes off to me, he's not sadistic, he's not dark, he's not twisted, he's not worse than Damon, he's just kind of crazy. He just doesn't care. You know, like, he acts like an asshole. He wasn't Ripper Stefan, he was asshole Stefan. I mean, it was such a disappointment. Like, imagine Damon, except all of his darkness and complexity just sucked out of him. That's pretty much what Ripper Stefan was. And another problem I have is that at the end of season 3, you know, he turns his switch back on, he gets back together with Elena, but I never ever saw him going through pain of killing everyone that he's killed in the last 6 months with Klaus. You know, like you know, in episode 1, at the end of Out of Control and Blood Brothers, when he just wants to die. Like, he goes inside of the water, he takes his ring off, and he wants to kill himself because of all the horrible stuff he's done, because he won't do that. Like, he went on a killing spree, shut his emotions off, went on another killing spree, killed so many innocent people, and it's like, what did it all really mean? Because in the end, he turns his switch back on, he gets back together with Elena, gets back together with the crew, and then everything's just back to normal. We never see him really process the horrible things that he's done. He just gets over them. That's something that really annoyed me. I was like, really? You could have spent some time on that. You could have really had Stefan really feel that, you know? I mean, just have him be a complete and utter wreck and mess of the person that he was. But no. It's just, he just gets right over it. I thought it was a solid character in Season 1, Season 2. Season 3 derailed him, it made him uninteresting, and ultimately did nothing to affect his character in the future. Let's talk about Damon. Damon is one of the best characters on the Vampire Diaries. I think that Damon is probably one of the top reasons that everyone watches this show. I think that Damon is epic. I think that he's awesome and he's great. As an antagonist and an anti-hero, not a love interest, and I'll get into why. Now, Damon, in Season 1, I thought he was great as an antagonist. I thought he was awesome. Whenever he was on screen, you really didn't know what was going to happen next. I mean, like, and he was just so sadistic. I mean, like, that scene in Season 1 where he's with Caroline, the Founders Day party, you know, and he's making her wear, you know, the yellow dress and stuff like that, and he's reading New Moon. That was so hilarious. Like, are you going to kill me? And he's like, uh-huh. Like, he was just so sadistic, so dark, so twisted. But you could see that there was more to his character. That's what I love. Like, he was just like a Lestat-type character, and I thought that was awesome. FYI, I have read the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. He was always like a Lestat kind of character. I mean, even with his background, you know, with his father issues and stuff, I mean, it was just so awesome. Even solid, great character. I thought there was a lot of complexity to him. I thought that he was great. Especially later in Season 1 where he becomes the anti-hero, where it's like, you know, the tomb vampires get released, and, you know, he sort of becomes on the good guy side, but still very unpredictable. You know, and I always, like, I already talked about this, about how, you know, in Season 2, and even later in Season 1, he becomes accepted into the Vampire Diaries inner circle. Like the episode Masquerade, where they all get together and make that plan to take out Catherine, or when they all got together and made that plan to take out Mason. I mean, he seemed to really become a part of the group in such a weird way, because, I mean, Damon has done a lot of horrible things to Elena and everyone Elena cares about. He almost kills Bonnie in Season 1 after she destroys the crystal. He maliciously fed on, abused, and raped Caroline. And yes, mind control, sex under mind control is rape. So yes, he rapes Caroline. He snaps Jeremy's neck. He turns Jeremy's girlfriend into a vampire, ultimately leading to her having to be staked. I mean, and he kills countless innocent people all throughout Season 1 and Season 2. So, like, my biggest thing is that Damon has never done anything to apologize or atone for any of the horrible things that he's done throughout this entire series. And everyone is just willing to forgive him and accept him into the group. I mean, we're in Season 4. What I really wanted to see from Damon in Season 3, aside from him just, you know, cracking wise and more and more and more and more Delena teasing, what I really wanted to see from Damon in Season 3 was him maintaining his badassery while also atoning for all the bad stuff he's done. You know, like, really have him have, you know, an episode with Bonnie, or an episode with Caroline, or, you know, just like a moment or two with Jeremy, where it's like, you know, Stefan's like, listen, I know what I did was horrible, but, you know, you've helped me out, I've helped you out, I like to think that we're past all that, or something like that, you know. Just have Damon maintain his badass persona while also reconciling with all the people he's done horrible things to, because I think that until Damon really changes for the better, like, you can still keep snarky, badass Damon, but the reason everyone wants Delena to happen is because they want Damon to be redeemed. But the thing is, Damon does not need to go to an outside source to be redeemed. Damon can redeem himself and make himself better and make himself worthy of Elena, but he has to do it for himself. He has to stop and think, I can be better than this. I can do more. He can still be a badass. He can still be willing to rip the bad guy's head off, but he has to reconcile with all the people that he's hurt. And he has to really turn his switch back on. Everyone craps on Damon for all the horrible stuff he's done, but Stefan did horrible things in Season 3. There's a huge difference. Damon chooses to turn his switch off and keep it off. He chooses to keep his humanity turned off. Stefan chooses to keep his humanity on. Even in Season 3, as I said, when he was doing all those horrible things, he was forcing himself not to turn off his switch, because he did not want to lose his humanity. The only time he ever turned his switch off was when Klaus compelled him to turn his switch off and forced him to do it. Then later on in the season, he chooses to turn his switch back on and be good again. Damon is making choices to keep his humanity off and to kill people and to know what he's doing is wrong, but to not care because he doesn't feel it. And this behavior even transfers into this season. I mean, look at the first episode of this season. He's trashing Matt. He bites him on the neck. He says it should have been Matt who died. What would have happened if Damon had killed Matt or seriously hurt Matt? It would have made Elena's sacrifice completely meaningless. It would have made her choosing to save Matt over herself if Matt died or Matt got seriously injured. It would have made it completely worthless. Because what was the point of her sacrificing her humanity to save Matt's life if Damon is just going to go and beat the crap out of Matt or kill him? It would make her sacrifice completely worthless. Damon doesn't think about this. Damon is just so Damon is really selfish at times. Like now, he's just so engulfed in his own anger and his own pain over losing Elena, in a sense, that he's willing to just take it all out on Matt, despite the fact that it would make Elena's sacrifice completely meaningless, and despite the fact that Matt is precious to Elena. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the fact that Bonnie or Caroline or Matt or Jeremy are precious to Elena. He's still willing to put them all up on the chopping block if it means saving her. He's still willing to kill every single one of them if it means her being alive. That is why I don't think they can be together. I think that Damon really needs to start recognizing that the people in Elena's life that she cares about are not expendable. Because he thinks that they are. Like in Season 2, when they said that the only way to kill Klaus was for Bonnie to channel all her magic and kill him, but they would end up killing her, Damon didn't give a shit. Damon, you know, like Elena even said, it's not an option, Damon, I don't want Bonnie to die. Damon says, I'll write her a great eulogy. He makes a joke out of it, and it's just like, you know, he has no respect or no care for the people that she loves. And what kind of relationship is that going to be? If they did start going out and start dating, it would be horrible, because he does not care about anyone that she cares about. He thinks they're all expendable. He doesn't care about any of them. He would snap every single one of their necks if it means her being alive. He doesn't care. He's impulsive and he's selfish. If you want proof of that, again, Season 2, the sacrifice episode, where he shoves his blood into her mouth, and he even tells her, you're so intent on dying, at least this way I know you'll come back. It was about him. He can't stand the thought of living without her in his life. You know, all in all, I do see potential for him and Elena. I do. I think it can definitely happen. But I really think that if they wanted to focus on that, they really should have had him do some serious atonement in Season 3. Not just have multiple episodes where Delena is shoved in our face with no resolution at all. I really think that in Season 3, they could have written some episodes where he has time with Bonnie, or time with Caroline, or time with Jeremy, and he really like reconciles with them. You don't have to make him a Stefan double. You don't have to make him a complete and utter pussy. You can still have him be a badass who's willing to go and rip off the new hunter's head. But just have him, like I said, just have him have a moment with, like, especially Caroline. I feel like what he did to Caroline was so fucked up. Keeping her in that mind-controlled state for almost the entirety of Season 1, feeding on her and raping her and doing all the horrible stuff. I really feel like Caroline, out of everyone on the show, has gotten the brunt of Damon's evil. You know, I mean, like, yeah, he's done some horrible stuff to Elena, like, you know, of course, fucking her mother and turning Elena's mother into a vampire. Like he did that to people. You know, he turned people and all that, and it is Elena's mother. Whether he meant to do it or not, it still happened. You know, I mean, like, I don't think that he has to completely come forward and apologize for that, but I think he has to understand that that was wrong. But he doesn't show any signs of thinking it was wrong at all. He doesn't show any signs of thinking that doing any of the stuff he's done is wrong, which it is. Which would be awesome if he was a pure villain or anti-hero. But as soon as they make him, as soon as Delena popped up, it's like, okay, he's got to start changing. He's got to, not changing massively, but he's got to change in the sense of not giving a shit anymore. He has to start giving a shit. He can still be a badass, but just have him be a badass who cares. Like Spike and Buffy, you know, he loved Buffy and stuff, and he had a soul, and he was insane and stuff, but in the end, you know, he was willing to save Xander or Willow or Dawn because they were precious to Buffy. Same thing can happen with Damon, but it hasn't, and it's been 3 seasons. Really? Come on, Damon could use some development in that sense. So anyway, yeah, my favorite Damon episode of all time has got to be The Descent, because it just shows, I think it's, one, because I love Damon and Rose. I love that relationship to death. I like Damon and Rose more than Damon and Elena. And 2, because it's just such a great Damon episode. You really, I feel like for the first time in the whole series, you really got an insight into just what Damon says. And oh my god, when he tells Jessica, I miss being human more than anything else in the world, that is my secret, it was such a spectacular Damon moment, and I fucking loved it. I think Ian Somerhalder does a fantastic job. No other actor on the planet could play Damon in the way he does. I thought it was hilarious, actually. I heard that when he first went into the audition for the Vampire Diaries to play Damon, that he wasn't very good at all. He kind of bombed. But that they knew that if they put him in front of that camera and gave him his material, that he could blow it away, and he totally did. So I'm really glad that they took a chance on him, because all in all, no one else could play his character. Great job, Ian. So yeah, and also, I thought it was hilarious when Ian and Nina started dating in real life. I thought that was spectacular. You know, it's like we don't get, like, the fans don't get Delena, but you know what? They get Nina and they get Nian. So Yeah. My thoughts on the Stelena and Delena love triangle, I pretty much touched on it with all their characters, but I think that Stelena is more solid because Stefan not only cares about Elena, but he also cares about the people she cares about because they're precious to her. I think Delena isn't really that strong because Damon has not apologized or atoned for any of the horrible things he's done to her or her loved ones. And I think that, you know, until that happens, him and Elena can't really happen. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the newest episode of the Vampire Diaries and the characters of Stefan, Elena, and Damon. Comment, respond, good luck and luck, good luck and love. What do you think about the newest episode? What do you think about Stelena, Delena, or Stefan, Elena, and Damon by themselves? Alright.